Every mentor is a door, and every door has two sides. Kai had walked through the door that was Caur many times now. He had gone down into the dark and received the old man's truths the way a starving person receives bread, gratefully, completely, without thinking to ask what the bread had been made from, or whose hands had baked it, or why it had been waiting so long in the dark for him to come. He had thought of Caur as a survivor, a victim, the last ember of a murdered house, hiding 300 years from the people who had killed his kin. That was the story, and it was true, and Kai had built his understanding of himself on it. What Kai had never asked, what no one had thought to ask because the question was too large to see, was a simple one. If the 7 houses murdered the 8th 300 years ago, and Caur was the only survivor on the island, then who sent the ship? There were ash across the sea, a nation of them. They had not fallen from the sky. Someone, 300 years ago, had put them on boats and sent them away before the end. Someone had saved them. And the someone was sitting in a chair in the dark below the fortress, and had been waiting 3 centuries for Kai to be brave enough, or broken enough, to ask. Kai went down into the dark with the full moon's deadline pressing on him like a hand, and this time he did not come for comfort. And Caur seemed to know it. "You've come with a question," the old man said before Kai had spoken. "I have been waiting for it for a very long time, longer than you've been alive, longer than your grandmother was alive. Ask it, child. I am so tired of carrying it alone." "The Remakers," Kai said. "The ash across the sea. They didn't survive by accident. Someone sent them. Someone put them on ships before the 7 fell on this house and saved them." He looked at the grey ruin in the chair. "You told me you sent a part of our people across the sea. You said it like a small thing, a footnote. But it isn't a footnote, is it? It's the whole story. They're not some lost cousins who happened to survive. They're your doing. Everything they became, the nation, the quiet horror, the ship in the harbour threatening to take this island apart. All of it grew from a choice you made 300 years ago." His voice was steady, but only just. "So tell me the whole of it, not the comfortable version, all of it. Who are they, really? And what did you do?" And Caur, the last ashman, who had not wept in 300 years because he had long ago unmade his own capacity for it, made a sound that was the dry ghost of weeping, and told him. "There were 8 houses," Caur began, "and ours was the oldest, and the most feared, and the most needed all at once. I have told you this. What I have not told you is that in the last years before the fall, our house was not united." The hollow eyes looked past Kai into 300 years ago. "There were 2 minds in House Ash, and they had been at war for a generation. One mind, call it the gentle mind, believed our gift was a sacred trust, that to unmake was a terrible responsibility, to be used sparingly, humbly, only ever in service of remaking something better. We unmake, that we may remake. To them the second half was the whole point. The unmaking was a sorrow you endured for the sake of the building that came after." "And the other mind," Kai said. "The other mind," Caur said, "believed the gentle mind was a coward's philosophy. They looked at our gift, the power to take anything apart, any wall, any king, any law, any person. And they asked why a house that could unmake the whole rotten world should kneel and ask permission to mend one corner of it. They believed we were not meant to be servants of the world. We were meant to be its surgeons, to cut away everything broken in it, and they saw a great deal as broken, and remake it wholesale in a better shape. Their shape. The dry voice hardened. They called the gentle mind sentimental. The gentle mind called them tyrants. And the argument had no end, because both sides were reading the same 5 words and hearing opposite commandments in them. Kai felt something cold settle in his stomach. And when the 7 houses came— When the 7 came, Caur said, the house was divided against itself, and a divided house cannot stand. I was young. I was of the gentle mind. I want you to know that, child, for whatever it is worth across 300 years. I was of the gentle mind, and I was losing. The other mind was ascendant. They were arming. They were ready to turn our gift on the 7 houses and remake the whole island under Ash rule. And the 7 knew it. And that is why the 7 struck when they did. They did not fall on us out of nowhere. They fell on us because the other mind of our own house was about to fall on them first. The hollow eyes closed. We were not innocent, Kai. That is the thing this island's memory has lost. The 7 did a monstrous thing, but they did it to stop a monstrous thing. Both are true. They have only ever remembered their fear and forgotten that the fear was earned. On the last night, Caur went on, when the 7 had breached the wards and the killing had begun, the house was already broken in 2, not by them, by ourselves. The gentle mind dying in the upper halls. The other mind, the ascendant mind, gathered in the harbour, where they had ships ready, because they had always intended to escape and regroup and return in force. The dry voice was barely a whisper now. I had a choice. I could die with the gentle mind, in the halls, and let our whole house end on this rock, the good and the terrible together. Or I could go to the harbour, to the other mind, the tyrants, the ones I had fought my whole life, and save them, put them on the ships, send the survival of House Ash across the sea in the hands of the very people I believed would misuse it. Why? Kai breathed. Why would you save them? You knew what they were. Because they were all that was left, Caur said. And there it was, the 300-year shame naked in the dark. Because I was young, and the house I loved was dying around me, and I could not bear to let it end completely. I told myself the gift was worth preserving even in flawed hands. I told myself that survival was better than purity. I told myself that perhaps, given time, given a new land, the better part of our house would reassert itself, that the gentle mind would grow back like a tree from a cut root. The grey hands trembled. So I went to the harbour, and I used the last of my strength to break the 7's blockade. I unmade their ships, child. I unmade a fleet. It is why I am as you see me. I spent most of myself in that one night, and I sent the tyrants across the sea. I saved the wrong half of my house, and then I crawled back into this rock to die, and did not even manage that, because there was not enough of me left to die properly. There was only enough to wait. He opened the hollow eyes, and I have waited 300 years, feeling across the water what they built with the survival I gave them. A nation that lives the cruel half of our faith and has entirely forgotten the gentle half. The Remakers. My children. My sin. The dry voice cracked. And now they have come home, flying our mark, and they have found you. And I do not know, child, I genuinely do not know, whether you are the gentle mind grown back at last from the cut root, or whether you are simply one more ember I will watch the hunger take, and the last proof that everything I saved should have been allowed to burn. Kai sat with it in the dark for a long time. It changed everything, and he could feel it changing everything, the way the ground changes when a tide goes out and reveals what was always under the water. The Remakers were not invaders from nowhere. They were the cruel half of his own house, saved and sent across the sea. Come home. The 7 houses were not simply murderers. They had been frightened, and the fear had been earned by the very people now anchored in the harbour. And the gentle faith Kai had been clinging to, we unmake that we may remake, the thing he had decided to be the proof of, was not the whole truth of his house at all. It was one side of an argument his house had been losing when it died. You told me, Kai said, that I had to be the proof, that an ash could hold the gift alone and not become the dark. But that was never settled, was it? That was the whole war inside our house, whether we're surgeons of the world or servants of it. And the surgeons won. They're the ones who survived. They're the ones in the harbour. He looked at Caur. You didn't preserve the faith. You preserved the argument. And you sent the winning side across the sea and kept the losing side here in the dark, in the shape of one old man who can't even die. Yes, Caur said. Then I'm not the last of anything, Kai said. I'm the last of the side that lost. The gentle mind, the cut root you hoped would grow back. He laughed, short and broken. No wonder Vess looked at me like that. To them, I'm not just an untaught cousin. I'm the return of the heresy they sailed away from, the sentimental philosophy their ancestors left behind to die. He pressed his hands to his face. And the 7 houses want to cage me because I'm ash, and the Remakers want to claim me or kill me because I'm the wrong kind of ash. And you've spent 300 years not knowing whether saving any of us was a mercy or the worst mistake in the history of the world. Yes, Caur said again. That is the whole of it. That is what I have carried. Now you carry it too. I am sorry. I am so sorry, child. But you needed to know what you are the last of, before the full moon, before you choose your door. You are not merely the 8th house. You are the losing argument of the 8th house, the gentle mind. And there has not been a gentle ash with real power in 300 years. There is no one alive who knows if such a thing can survive what you are. The hollow eyes held his. You will have to find out. Live or die, win or fall. You will have to be the experiment your whole house died arguing about. Alone. With a hunger that agrees with the Remakers in every silent hour. And a witness who is afraid of you. And perhaps 2 weeks before an empire comes to take you apart. A terrible, gentle pause. I would not wish your inheritance on anyone. But it is yours. It has been waiting in this dark for 300 years, with me, for someone brave enough, or foolish enough, to claim it. And you came down the stair. So now it is yours. Kai climbed up out of the dark before dawn and found Ren waiting in the hall, and he told her all of it. The 2 mines, the harbour, the wrong half saved, the gentle faith that was never settled doctrine, but a losing argument. He had promised her the truth, always, and the truth now was enormous and terrible, and he laid all of it at her feet because he did not know what else to do with it. Ren listened without interrupting, which was unlike her, and when he was done, she was quiet for a while. "So, everyone's right," she said finally. "That's the horror of it, isn't it? The seven were right to be afraid. The Remakers are right that the gentle faith is a fragile thing that lost its own civil war. Caur's right that saving them might have been the worst mistake ever made. And you're right that none of it means you have to become the thing they're all afraid of." She rubbed her eyes. It would be so much easier if someone in this story was simply wrong. Just one person. But no. Everyone's holding a piece of the truth and using it as a knife. "Caur thinks I'm an experiment," Kai said. "Whether a gentle ash with real power can survive at all. Whether the losing argument can win this time. And he doesn't know the answer. Neither do I." "No," Ren agreed. "Neither do I. But I'll tell you what I do know, because someone in this dark needs to say a true thing that isn't also a knife." She stood and came to him, and there was something fierce in her now. "I know that the difference between you and the Remakers isn't your bloodline or your philosophy or which half of some 300-year-old argument you descend from. The difference is what you did in that square. Vess reached into a grieving man to take his pain and call it mercy. You reached in to stop them, and you took something you shouldn't have, and then you came and told me it felt like the best thing you've ever felt, and it shamed you to your bones." She took his face in her hands. "That's the experiment, Kai. That's the whole experiment. Not whether you have power. You have power. The experiment is whether a person with that power can keep being horrified by it. And every day you keep telling me the truth, the experiment is succeeding. So we run it one more day, and then one more. That's all anyone can do, even people without a hungry mark. We just run it one more day and try not to become the worst thing we're capable of." She let him go. "Now, we have a full moon coming, and an empire that wants to take the island apart, and a council that wants to cage you, and a plan we started that we never finished. So stop carrying 300 years of your dead house's guilt for one night and help me. We have work to do, and the dead can keep their arguments till morning." The plan they had begun 2 nights before, to take the truth about the Remakers and use it first, on their own terms, before Sale could spend it on the binding, had not gone away, and now, with everything Caur had revealed, it had teeth it had not had before. "Here's what changed," Ren said, pacing the hall the way she did when the board was finally clear enough to read. 2 nights ago, the plan was, tell the island what the Remakers are, so the council needs you free instead of caged. Frighten them toward you. But now we know more than that. Now we know the Remakers are your house's own cruelty, saved and sent across the sea. Which means—" She stopped, working it. "Which means the 7 houses' whole story is wrong, and we can prove it. They've spent 300 years telling everyone the 8th house was a monster they bravely put down. But the truth is messier, and the truth is better for us. The truth is that the 8th house was at war with itself, a gentle half and a cruel half, and the 7 killed all of it, the good with the bad, and the cruel half survived anyway across the sea. So the 7 didn't save the island from the monster. They killed the only people who were fighting the monster and let the monster escape." She turned to him, eyes bright. Do you see what that does, Kai? It means you're not the return of the thing they feared. You're the return of the thing that was fighting the thing they feared. The gentle mind. The half that would have stopped the Remakers 300 years ago if the Seven hadn't murdered it in its cradle along with everyone else. Kai saw it. It reframes the whole thing. They cage me because I'm Ash, and Ash means monster. But if the island understands that there were two kinds of Ash, and I'm the kind that fought the monster, then caging you is the stupidest thing they could possibly do, Ren finished. Because the monster's in the harbor, and you're the only living heir of the people who knew how to fight it. You're not the danger, you're the cure they almost threw away. And that, Kai, that's a story even Sail can't easily counter, because it's true. And the new Keeper of the Glass has Ren's records to prove it. She grinned, sharp and fierce. We don't hide what you are. We tell the whole truth, louder than Sail can, and we make the island understand that the gentle mind is the only thing that's ever stopped the surgeon's mind, and they just spent 300 years trying to finish killing it. Let Sail try to argue you into a cage after that. Let him try. It's dangerous, Kai said. If we're wrong about how the island hears it, everything's dangerous, Ren said. That's not a reason. That's just the weather. The question isn't whether it's dangerous. The question is whether it's true, and whether it's ours, and whether telling it puts the next move in our hands instead of Sail's. And it does. On all three. She stopped in front of him. You spent this whole night learning the worst thing about your house, that it made the monster in the harbor. Good. Now, we take that exact truth and we turn it into the thing that keeps you free. That's what your house is supposed to do, isn't it? Take the unmade thing and remake it into something better. We unmake that we may remake. So let's remake the worst truth about your house into the reason the island can't afford to cage you. That's the gentle mind's whole trick, Kai. It's the only trick we've got. Let's use it. And Kai, for the first time since the ship came across the water, felt something that was not dread. The board was terrible. The vice was real. But for the first time, they were about to make a move instead of answering one. And they were going to make it out of the very truth that had seemed, an hour ago, like the heaviest weight in the world. Across the sea, in a place the island did not know existed, in a hall of black stone where no candle burned because the things that ruled there had no need of light, a message arrived from the envoy, Vess. We have found the homeland ember. It is as the readings promised, the gentle line, grown back from the root we left to die. It is powerful and untaught, and it will not come willingly. Worse, it has already done something I did not believe possible. It unmade my working in the air, and took a piece of me, and stopped itself only by an act of will I have not seen in our people in my lifetime. I recommend caution. This is not a stray cousin to be collected. This is the heresy returned, with the strength to act on it. The thing in the dark hall read the message and considered it, and was not afraid, because it had not been afraid of anything in a very long time. It had ruled the realm across the sea since before the envoy's grandmother was born. It was the architect of everything the Remakers were. It remembered, dimly, the old argument, the gentle mind and the surgeon's mind, the war their house had fought on a distant rock 300 years ago. It had been on the winning side. It had spent 3 centuries making certain the gentle mind never grew back. And now the gentle mind had grown back anyway, on the old homeland, in a single stubborn ember. And it had hurt one of the architect's envoys. That would not do. That would not do at all. The thing in the dark hall summoned its will, The vast and patient will that had unmade a nation's defiance over 300 years, and it made a decision that Vess, for all the envoy's grace, would have been terrified to hear. The full moon, it decided, was too generous. The ember had until the full moon, by the envoy's gentle reckoning. But the architect had not crossed an ocean to be gentle. It would come itself. That was Sigil and Ash, episode 15, What Caur Knew. The story continues in episode 16, The Coalition of Necessity. Subscribe to follow Kai's story.